Hi, my name's Sarah. Wow, it's still taking time to get used to saying that and especially getting used to hearing it. Um, I am 9 months into hormone replacement therapy, and I just wanted to share my experience. I think that we have a lot to learn in this field, and so I just wanted to put some data out there. Um, Everyone's experience is different, and I'm just speaking about my experience. I'm not giving any advice. I'm not selling anything, or I'm not supported by anyone. I am a licensed clinical professional counselor, so I think that does have a big impact on my experience, what I look for, what I see. So again, my experience is just mine. So I wanted to start off with just a little bit of background information, kind of the case background. So I presented as a 60-year-old assigned male at birth. Um, I was identifying more as non-binary when I went for hormone replacement, leaning into trans feminine, but mostly non-binary. Um, I think that my presenting issue was a little bit different than what a lot of people think when they think of hormone replacement therapy, because my presenting issue was not really gender dysphoria. Um, I have felt gender incongruence, feeling like that, my gender and my body really didn't match my genitalia and my sex assigned at birth. Um, Forever, but it wasn't really one of those things that caused significant distress in my life. I think it came out in kind of weird ways, but I didn't sit around or think about it in a way that caused me any anxiety or any depression. Um, so, um, my main issue was out of control libido. Um, it was really bad, and, I had, been through a lot of efforts to try to manage it to no avail. Um, the out of control libido would ultimately lead to, a lot of distress, especially depression, some mania because it really interfered with my sleep, some anxiety maybe, but more mood disorders were more of what my presentation, would look like in, a more diagnostic standpoint. Um, I kind of got awareness when I was in my 40s. I, watched a documentary, and it was about sex addiction, and I'm like, "Wow, that sounds like me." And I don't think I really agree with sex addiction, especially not now after doing hormone replacement therapy for me. It may fit for other people, but not for me. Um, but it gave me hope that I might get some help and that there might be something that I can do to, get control of this behavior. So it was 10-day, intensive outpatient, treatment. So I went to that, and that was kind of behavioral-based treatment. Stop the bleeding and then try to dig deeper into what's going on. Um, they referred me to a 30-day, psychiatric hospital, so I went to that and did a lot of trauma work. And it was also addictions work as well, so somewhat behavioral. And then they referred me to 30 days of residential inpatient treatment, and that was largely emotional. I had been prescribed, SSRIs, antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication, and had a pretty sizable dose, and had taken those for quite a few years. It really didn't affect the libido. It just made it where it was kind of an itch that you couldn't scratch. It did affect my sexual response, my ability to achieve an orgasm and ejaculate. It did, and then that kind of led to a difficulty maintaining an erection, and then that kind of led to not being able to get an erection at all. So it kind of just made it a scratch that I couldn't itch, and also made me more focused on homosexuals behavior, because it didn't affect that sexual response as much as it did the other. I stopped the SSRIs and, had tried some mood stabilizers. I tried, Lamictal, lithium, Seroquel. That was the worst I ever felt in my life. It didn't affect the libido, it made my mood worse, it made my balance worse. It was really terrible. Um, I didn't stay on those for very long. I was hopeful at first that it would work, but then after a short time, it didn't. Um, I had always said that if I could find a pill that would get rid of my sex drive, I would take it regardless of the side effects. And then it kind of came to me about um, sex drive and where does it come from? And I was still struggling. And testosterone, duh. Testosterone is what drives the sexual response. um, I started wondering about whether or not my body didn't process testosterone correctly because, I don't have male features. I never have. I don't have hair on my body. I never have. I don't have hair on my belly either. Oh, too high. Um, no hair on my belly either. I don't grow hair under my arms. I can shave it like once every month and you still can't tell. Um, I don't build muscles. I'm really an athlete. I've exercised, lifted weights, and exercised and been a pretty serious athlete pretty much my whole life. And I don't build muscle. I'm really lean, never did. My puberty really didn't happen. It was really delayed, and then it was really kind of incomplete. It was kind of hard in middle school and high school when I had no sexual development. It also killed my athletics career because I didn't have muscle, I wasn't strong and fast like the men were because I didn't really have testosterone working for me. Um, so, um, I went and got my, blood work done and found out that my testosterone was really high. Even though I was really feminine and kind of always saw myself as more feminine, um, I had really high testosterone. It was on the high side for the average of a 20-year-old, and I'm 60. And I remembered after that I had gotten my testosterone tested once before because someone thought I had low testosterone because I don't have male features, and it was really high back then too. So, it's kind of weird to think about, but now in doing more research, it makes more sense to me, especially in studying AIS, which I'll probably talk about more later on. Um, so I was told that I couldn't do testosterone blocker alone because it could lead to bone density issues, emotional issues. The body is really fascinating. We're all set up to technically run on both sex hormones, but we do need one. We can't run on zero. We have to have one. But it runs usually for most people on both. Mine didn't run so good on testosterone. So I started on a testosterone blocker and I started on estrogen. And the estrogen didn't get high enough in my blood levels for quite a while. So I think that the benefits of estrogen were a little bit later, and I'll probably talk about those in another video. But I would like to talk a little bit about the um, original responses that I had. When I took the testosterone blocker, I felt it in about 20 minutes. And it was pretty intense. I mean, it was pretty intense. Um, the first thing that happened to me was I just felt this huge release of tension. It was mostly in my shoulders where I noticed it, but I noticed it in all parts of my body. And that was pretty exciting for a short period of time. And then my mind quit racing. And I don't know if anyone else has experienced it, but when your mind stops racing when it's been racing for a long time, it kind of freaks you out. I thought that it was kind of fuzzy. I thought that I was going to pass out. I thought that I was dizzy. Um, but I bent over and I didn't get lightheaded. I stood on one leg and I had good balance. And so I talked myself down and realized that I just kind of stopped out of a really hypertension mind racing loop. I remembered that I had experienced that once before in some cathartic release of tension. Um, so I tried to stick with it, and it seems to have stuck with me. So the second thing that I benefited from the testosterone blocker was that I didn't have restless legs anymore. Um, I had struggled with restless legs for a long time since I was a kid. Felt like creepy crawlers in my legs. And I couldn't ever get them comfortable. Felt like they needed to move, but moving never helped. It was really bad at night. Used to be bad at 3 o'clock in the afternoon too, but I did some trauma work to get rid of that. But at night, I never could get rid of. I did a lot of different things: iron, calcium, magnesium, no caffeine, hot baths, stretching, yoga before bed, don't exercise late in the day, just everything that I could possibly do to try to get some relief from those, and none of it really worked. So I went on Parkinson's disease drug, and that worked. First couple ones made it worse, and then one worked for a while, and then it got to where the side effects were really bad. So I went to try to do something else, and they tried some restless legs medicine, and that made it worse. They gave me benzodiazepines, and I hate those things. I didn't want to take those. They didn't help it. They just made it where I didn't care. They were going to use opiates, and I really wasn't interested in that because I was more interested in going to the source. Um, I ended up smoking medical marijuana. It's the only thing I could find that would give me relief to that. But when I blocked my testosterone, it went away. I didn't have it anymore. I don't need the marijuana or anything. I sleep a lot better. Um, and so that was a huge benefit. Um, so this is kind of getting to the starting point introduction of what I really wanted to say is that, with all the treatment and not really feeling that much distress with gender dysphoria and all the psychiatric and mental health work that I had done, I worked really hard to really no avail. I really don't feel like that my presenting issue is a psychological issue. I think it's more of a medical issue. And the benefits from, the tension, slowing of anxiety, slowing of mind, um, and the RLS that was relieved really made me starting to wonder if I had a medical issue that my body was intolerant to testosterone. And at that point, I hadn't had any education in anything about that. That was just kind of what my intuitive experience taught me. And since then, I've done a lot more research and education on AIS, Androgen Insensitivity Syndrome. And I feel like that is more of what led me to hormone replacement therapy. So, in the next video, I'll talk more about some of the benefits of the estrogen. Oh, and by the way, my sex drive is 0. It's so great. So another reason why I don't think it's an addiction is I didn't feel any withdrawal from that. I felt relief, freedom. Um, I feel like I have a more normal sex drive now that I would probably do it if I really was the right situation with the right person, but I can live without it. And so that is a really big relief. Hopefully, this is a starting point. It's helpful, not too boring, not too annoying, but I hope you got something out of it that you can use. Thank you.